Okay, so you shared some really interesting material this week about something called Ambali, that traditional preparation Dr. Kadar talks about. Got me thinking, and I'm really keen to dive in with you and sort of unpack the most valuable bits for you listening.
Absolutely. And this deep dive, it's based on that Millet Magic YouTube video, the one with Dr. Kadar answering FAQs on Umbly. The aim is really just to get a clear picture of how to prep it, how to use it properly.
Yeah, because there seem to be a few common points of confusion.
Exactly. So hopefully we can make it all pretty straightforward.
Great. So let's kick off with maybe the biggest question.
Mhm.
How long does it actually take to make? The preparation time seems a bit fuzzy.
Yeah, that's a perfect place to start. And you're right, it is fuzzy because the video makes it really clear there isn't like one fixed time.
Ah, okay.
It really depends on where you are, the local conditions, temperature, season.
Mm-hmm.
It'll ferment fast when it's warm compared to when it's cold. Makes sense, right?
Right, right. Biological process. So if we can't just set a timer, how do we know? What's the telltale sign?
Okay, so this is where Dr. Kadar suggests a really quite clever method. Um, Basically, you take a little bit of warm milk, add a tiny bit of curd starter, like you're making yogurt,
Okay.
and you keep that little bowl right next to your pot of umbly while it's fermenting. When you see that the milk has fully set into curd,
Then the Umbli's ready too.
exactly, that's your signal. The milk acts like a little natural real-time indicator for the umbly's fermentation process.
That's actually brilliant. A visual cue that works with the same conditions. So what kind of time variation are we talking about, roughly?
Well, the video gives some examples, like in warmer weather, maybe 6 to 8 hours, something like that.
All right.
But then it mentions, say, Punjab in January, really cold conditions. It could take much longer, maybe even 12 hours.
Wow, 6 to 12 hours or more. That's quite a range.
It is. So the key takeaway really is watch the milk, not the clock. It's pretty straightforward once you know the trick.
Got it. Okay, so once it is ready, the milk is set what then? How long does it last? Can you make a big pot and sip on it all day?
No. The video is very specific about this. Once it's ready, you really need to consume it within 1 hour.
Just 1 hour.
Yep, 1 hour. It's not meant to be kept for later. The benefits are really in that freshly fermented state.
Okay, that's a tight window. So what if someone wants Umbly, say morning and afternoon? Maybe for health reasons, they're advised to have it more often.
Then you need to prepare a fresh batch each time. Simple as that. So for morning umbly, you'd start it the night before. For afternoon, maybe start it early that morning. Freshness is paramount.
Right. No batch prepping for the week then. Okay, let's switch gears to ingredients. What actually goes in it? Does it have to be a specific kind of millet?
Good question. The video explains you've actually got some flexibility.
Mm.
You can use millet flour
Okay.
or millet raba, the broken grains, sort of like coarse semolina, or even the whole millet grains themselves.
Ah, so different forms work.
Exactly, whatever form you have or prefer.
And what about the type of millet? I know people talk about brown top millet sometimes. Is it just that one?
No, and that's another point of flexibility. The video explicitly says you can use any of the 5 positive millets.
Oh, really? Any of them?
Yep. No need to fixate on just one type, like brown top. You can use whichever positive millet you have available or prefer. Maybe even rotate them.
That's good to know. It makes it much more accessible.
Okay, let's circle back for a second to knowing when it's ready. We've got the curd method, which sounds reliable, but are there other signs, like should it smell a certain way or look bubbly?
Right. People often look for those kinds of signs. But the video strongly advises against relying on smell or taste or even how bubbly it looks.
Oh, why is that?
Because since you can use different millets and maybe even different starters implicitly, the microbial populations doing the fermenting will vary.
Ah, I see.
So what smells or looks right for umbly made from, say, foxtail millet might be totally different from one made with kodo millet. There's no single sensory standard. So those signs are just too variable to be reliable. It really boils down to that milk curd test again.
Precisely. That's the consistent, dependable indicator Dr. Kadar recommends, regardless of which millet you're using. It standardizes the readiness point.
Okay, crystal clear on that. Now, another thing the video touched on was the consistency. It sounds like maybe people think it's a thicker porridge-like thing.
Yes, that seems to be a common misconception. Some might picture it as, yeah, something semi-solid you'd eat with a spoon. But the video emphasizes it should be quite liquid.
How liquid?
The guideline given is a ratio of about 1 part cooked millet, whether that's flour, rava, or grains, to 10 parts water. after it's been boiled and is ready for fermentation.
1 to 10. Wow, that is thin. Almost like a watery soup or drink.
Exactly. It's meant to be drunk, not eaten. And there's a crucial reason for this very liquid consistency.
Okay, what's the thinking behind that?
It's all about the fermentation process itself. That thin liquid state allows for proper aeration. If you're using a traditional mud pot, the air exchange through the pot's micropores and the cloth cover is really important for the right kind of microbial activity.
Ah, so the microbes need that air access, which they wouldn't get in a thick paste.
Precisely. A thicker consistency would really hinder that aerobic fermentation process that's desired for umbly. It needs to be fluid for the microbes to thrive throughout.
Makes sense. And what if you use whole grains? They might sink, right?
They might, yeah. So the advice is just to give it a good stir or shake right before you drink it to make sure everything's suspended and you get the grains along with the liquid.
Drinkable, not eatable.
Got it. So you mentioned that consistency is crucial for fermentation, but why is that specific outcome, that liquid form, so important for the person consuming it, beyond just making it?
Right. This is probably the most significant point about the consistency. It's about maximizing the delivery of those live beneficial bacteria to your gut.
How does being liquid help with that? Because it passes through your stomach incredibly quickly. The stomach is highly acidic, right?
Right.
It's designed to break things down and kill off microbes.
Yeah.
But a liquid like Umbly, according to the video, transits the stomach in maybe just 30 seconds to a minute.
That fast.
Yeah. It doesn't linger like solid food does.
Mhm.
So far fewer of those precious beneficial bacteria get destroyed by the stomach acid. They get a sort of fast pass to the intestines where they're needed.
Wow. So it's like an express delivery system for probiotics, basically.
You could definitely put it that way.
Oh.
It ensures more of the good guys arrive alive and kicking in your gut.
And why is that so critical? We hear a lot about gut microbes, but what's the specific link here?
Well, the video highlights their role in producing essential nutrients, specifically mentioning vitamin B12.
Ah, B12.
Yeah, Dr. Kadar points out that B12 deficiency is linked to a whole host of problems, nervous system issues, heart trouble, weakened immunity. Our gut microbes play a big part in synthesizing it.
So having a healthy, thriving gut flora, supported by things like Umbly, directly impacts nutrient production like B12.
Exactly. And beyond B12, just having that symbiotic, diverse community of beneficial bacteria is fundamental for overall gut health, digestion, immunity. The list goes on. That liquid form is key to replenishing them effectively.
That's a really powerful connection. Liquid equals faster transit equals more live bacteria in the gut. Okay. Now, what about jazzing it up a bit? Can people add things like dow or vegetables, maybe jaggery for sweetness or even fruit?
That's another common question, and the video does address it. Generally, yes, adding things like that is acceptable, but with a couple of important conditions.
Okay, what are the rules?
First, whatever you add, the final mixture must remain liquid. It shouldn't become thick or sludgy.
Yeah.
You need to maintain that drinkable consistency.
Right, back to the liquid principle.
Exactly. And second, when you add these things, the umbly should only be lukewarm, not hot. If it's too hot, you risk killing off those beneficial microbes you went to all the trouble of cultivating.
Okay, so keep it liquid, keep it lukewarm. Makes perfect sense to protect the bacteria. And when should you add these extras? Can you mix them in ahead of time?
No, the emphasis is on adding them just before you consume it.
Right before drinking.
Yes.
Yes.
Mix it in, then drink it straight away. The video specifically mentions this is important if you're, say, taking it to work in a box or container.
Yeah.
Don't pre-mix the additions. Add them right when you're ready to drink.
Got it. Additions are okay, but last minute, and keep it liquid and lukewarm. Now, let's talk about Umbly in the context of a meal, especially for people dealing with health issues who might be having it multiple times a day. Is it meant to be their only food? What if they drink it and still feel hungry?
That's a really crucial clarification. The video positions Umbly primarily as a tool, a mandatory drink, even for replenishing gut microbes, particularly vital for those facing health challenges. It's not necessarily intended as a complete, satiating meal on its own.
So it's okay to eat other food.
Yes. If someone drinks their Umbly, waits maybe 5 or 10 minutes just to allow it to pass through the stomach quickly as intended, and they still feel genuinely hungry, then it's perfectly okay for them to eat something else.
Yeah, okay. But is there a catch? Like, can they eat just anything?
There's a very specific guideline here. If you eat after having Umbly, the recommendation is that the additional food should be made from the exact same millet that was used to prepare that batch of Umbly. Oh, interesting. So if you made Umbly with foxtail millet,
Then if you're still hungry, you could have, say, foxtail millet idli, or maybe some foxtail millet rice with sambar, or roti made from foxtail millet flour. Stick to the same grain.
That's a fascinating detail. Stick to the same millet. And the video stresses that you shouldn't replace other millet meals with umbli, right? It's an addition. Absolutely. It's presented as non-negotiable, almost like a medicine or a supplement. The doctor inside, as Dr. Kadar puts it, helping the healing process by fixing the gut microbiome first. So you wouldn't skip it in favor of just having millet roti, for instance. You have the umbli first, then the roti, if needed, made from the same millet.
Understood. It's foundational. What about people who are generally healthy? Is there still a place for umbli?
Yes, definitely. The recommendation extends to healthy individuals too.
Mm.
Consuming umbli at least once a day is suggested as a proactive way to maintain good gut health.
So like daily maintenance for the microbiome.
Exactly. In our modern lifestyles, many things can deplete our beneficial gut microbes. Umbli is presented as a simple, traditional way to continually replenish them and maintain that diversity, which is key for long-term health.
So it's really for everyone, not just when you're unwell. It's about proactively supporting that inner ecosystem.
Precisely. It's framed as a crucial addition to a healthy routine for pretty much anyone interested in leveraging traditional food wisdom for modern well-being.
Okay, this has been incredibly clarifying. So just to wrap things up, what are the absolute must-remember points for someone listening who wants to get Umbly right?
I'd say the top three are: 1. Trust the curd setting method for timing, not the clock or your nose. 2. Always keep it liquid. That 1.10 ratio is key for fermentation and, more importantly, for effective gut delivery. 3. Understand its primary role is feeding your gut microbes, making it beneficial for everyone, ideally daily.
Watch the milk, keep it thin, feed your gut. Simple but powerful principles. So for you listening, maybe think about how this traditional practice could fit into your own routine. Perhaps experimenting with different millets, observing that curd setting process. It could be quite an interesting journey.
Definitely. It connects us back to some fundamental aspects of food and health.
Well, thanks for diving deep into Umbly with me today. Really cleared things up. And thanks to all of you for tuning in. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into insightful topics.